Right, and I am going to do a quick little introduction for Beth. Her name is Beth Cooper. She is an HSE instructor with Warren County Aspire, loves her job, capital loves, her students as well as her coworkers. She's originally from Tennessee, has lived in Ohio for 17 years. Prior to her Aspire work, it included corporate training and change management in business operations with the Federal Reserve Bank, Deloitte and Touche, and the Home Depot, as well as teaching high school math, economics, and history. She has a BS in business from Tennessee Technological University and master's ed from Vanderbilt. And also she is an awesome coworker. I learned from her session when we practiced it. So, and she will be showing some documents toward the end. If you go on, we were able to, or I was able to find them even on the computer app, shall I say, or the link on the computer. If you click on the session and go under the general description, all of her documents are there that she has shared out. So take it away, Beth.
Okay, well, I feel so special getting an introduction like that. Wow. I'm fairly new at this. This is my third year, and with the experience that I've had in the past, I've definitely found that this is a great fit for me, being a high school equivalency teacher, and I really, really like it. And I wish I had started a long time ago. But being new to this, fairly new to this, it hasn't been that long ago that I was at new teacher orientation. So I don't know how long it's been, for those of you on this session, but at new teacher orientation, they talk about all of the duties that we have. And this is a list of them. We conduct student orientation, we prepare for instruction, we implement instruction, we manage the student learning environment, we assess student learning, we perform administrative tasks, and we participate in professional development. So that's a lot of stuff. And as you all well know, there are a lot of things under those duties. And I personally don't particularly like spending a lot of time on administrative tasks. I don't mind doing it, but I want it to be efficient. And I want to get the stuff done that I need to do so that I can focus on the more fun things and the more valuable things, working with students and creating lessons and things like that. So when I saw all of these tasks, I was like, whoa, this is multitasking on steroids. So the reason why I've come up with some, very simple, as you will see, organizational things is just to keep up with everything, to keep up with all the many tasks there are to do, and to make it more efficient to get those things done, and to make sure that I'm not forgetting to do something, since we do have, various requirements. So then in March, when we started doing virtual classes, that sort of created a whole other level of needing some tools and organizational shortcuts in order to manage everything. And just so you know, I have a Monday and Wednesday morning HSC class, and then I have a Monday and Wednesday evening HSC class that is done via Zoom. And I have a Tuesday evening, just 1 hour open math class where any of the students can pop in. And then on Friday mornings, I actually go in to the classroom in person for open office hours for about 2 hours for any student who wants to come in. So that's how I'm doing things. And I also use Google Classroom as in conjunction with my virtual classes. So the students are coming to the virtual classes via Zoom, and their follow-up work and everything is on Google Classroom, which we're going to talk about today. And then I also have additional assignments out there too, that in addition to what we do on the class. So we'll be talking about that too. So the session is basically divided into 4 sections. The first one is organizing your Gmail inbox, just your email, organizing your Google Drive, organizing Google Classroom, and then some simple tools that I've come up with for myself just to make things easier and to make sure that I get everything done. But it's really working for me. I'm able to minimize the time that I spend on a lot of the administrative stuff because it's not my favorite. So with that being said, I would like to know how you can relate to this, or if you can relate to this cartoon. The guy says, "Now, where did I put that how to keep your desk tidy memo?" So I love that. That's actually what my husband's desk looks like downstairs. Mine does not. But think of this cartoon and think of this session as not a way of keeping your desk tidy, but as a way to keep your digital desk tidy. So that's what this session is all about. And while we're going through this, if you are at your computer and you want to bring up your inbox, your Google Drive, while this session is going on in order to try out a couple of the things, feel free. So we'll get started. Oops. Okay. All right, so the first section is on your inbox. So is everyone seeing my inbox now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, my inbox hardly ever looks this bad. Like yeah, I bet I know who's laughing. I do not just keep my inbox full of messages. I deal with them. So, and here's how I do that. And a lot of you may already be using this feature, but it's really easy. It's the equivalent of a file cabinet. So over here to the left, Google calls them labels, but they're basically files. And I use them extensively. So here are all my different categories that I have. I've got, just everything: curriculum, distance education, emails sent to students, evaluations. I've got one for intake and orientation. I've got one for our administrative person, Jesse, in our office, and Karen, our director. So I put every email from them in one of those folders. So your categories are going to be based on what will work for you. But here's one that we probably all need. We all get tons of emails for different resources. And I'll show you how to create a label or a folder and how to create a subfolder. But this is a really good thing to do with all of those emails that we all get that have new resources that we can use, is to just file them away. And, even if you don't have time to go through everything as it comes in, at least you could put it in its proper category and then go back and look at them later, or make it a summer project or something like that. So those are the different categories. So as far as time management, I actually deal with all the emails when they come in as much as I can. I either delete them or I file them. And anything that's left is something that I need to do something with. So let me just show you how to create, if you do not have any labels that you've created or files, I'll show you how to do that. You scroll down all the way over here on the left and click on More, and you can create a new label. And I am going to create a label for OACE, since that's current right now. I'm going to put, I would like this to appear at the very top of my labels or my folders, so I'm going to put those stars in front of it. And this is a good tip, because if you have a project that you're working on or something current, you can put that at the very top by using just stars, and it'll automatically pop pop up there. Otherwise, they're going to be in alphabetical order. So I've got some OAS related emails here in my inbox, and all you have to do to file those is just click on them, and then you go to this folder right here that looks like a folder, and you say move to, and then it will be in that particular label or folder. I'm used to referring to them as folders, but technically they're labels. Another one that I use a lot, if I do come across an email that has a resource that I think I may want to use really soon, I'm going to create this folder called New Resources to Check Out soon. You can make these whatever you want and use them however you want. But I have found putting things like that I want to do soon or that are current projects to be very handy. So these are some emails that I have in my inbox that I know relate to new resources I want to check out soon. So I'm going to put them there. Now, if you want to have a subfolder, and that I have some that I'm showing you in my with my resources. I've got various categories of resources. So let's say that I want to create a subfolder under resources. I'll show you how to do that. So I don't have a category right now for resources that relate to differentiated instruction, for example, but I do have an email for that. So you just type in the name of your label or folder, and then you can select Nest Label Under, and you select a parent. So my parent is going to be my resources. And now when I go over here, I am going to see under my resources, there they are, differentiated instruction. So I do have an email in my inbox for that, and I'm just going to file it. So it's very quick and easy. A lot of you may already be using this feature, but I just thought I would show you how I'm using it in the job role that I'm in. So I do have a couple of new emails, and I have one the other day from Jessie, our administrative person, and I am going to do something with that, so I'm going to leave that one in there. And this is the biggest thing that I do as far as time management related to email is I deal with everything that's in there. It's like visual clutter to me to have a whole bunch of emails, and it makes me feel like I'm missing something or I'm not doing everything I need to do. So I like to just deal with them, and anything that's action oriented is going to be left in there for me to deal with. Let's see. Oh, another thing related to emails that you may have seen as a time management tool is whenever you send an email, just have one subject in that particular email mostly, and use the subject line, because later on, even though you're filing your emails under your various categories, it's helpful. It's more helpful to find things if you just have one subject per email. So those are my tips related to email. And I know email is a simple thing. There are a lot of other features that Google has that you can use. I have just been using these simple things, and it works for me. So any questions about that?
Yeah,
Yep.
there's one. Is there any way it can be like shuffled, I think is what was into a folder automatically? Like as soon as it comes into your email, will it go to a folder? Lori was asking that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's a way to do that, but I don't use that feature, so I'm not sure. I know my husband uses a feature like that, but I don't think it's on Gmail, so I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get a lot of emails, that would be a good feature to enable. But I'm not sure if Gmail has that capability or not. I know some email systems do.
Okay.
Any more? Before we
Yes.
move on?
How do you move a folder within the folders? Can you do it?
Oh, okay. Yes, I did that just the other day. Let's see. Yes, I'm trying to remember how I did it. Okay. If you go to manage labels, so I use the create new label feature just to, to show you the ones I created today. If you go to manage labels, then you can see all of your categories, all your folders, your labels. I'm calling those all the same thing. You can edit them. So let's say I have some duplication, or you have some duplication. I'll go down to resources. Let's say I want to combine, two folders. I guess it doesn't really matter which two. So let's combine, if we want to combine digital skills with another one, then you can determine where you want. You can choose a different parent. So let's say I'm just going to put that under DE instead of resources, and you can move it that way. So the manage labels feature is the one where you can change things, and you can delete your folders or your labels too. Like if you're finding that you've gone a little crazy and created a whole bunch of labels or folders, and you decide, well, I'm not ever putting any emails in there, it's kind of useless. This is where you would go to delete those. See, here's one right here. I've got 0 messages in this particular label. Apparently I don't really need it, so I can just remove it like that. Yes, remove. So that's how you can combine. You would use your manage labels, and you would go in and edit them and choose a new, put one under the other with the nesting feature. That's a great question. I tend to have a lot of categories. I mean, you don't want to have too many that it becomes cumbersome for you to deal with your email. So you'll get used to the categories that you have, and you'll become, quicker at it.
What does the star do?
I think the star, Beth, referring to where you've put the folders.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah.
What does the
these
star
stars
do?
Oh, the stars that I put here, they just make that particular category appear at the top. So I use that for, I made one for OACE because that's what's going on today. But a category that I want to be sure that I get to is I want to be sure I look at my new resources to check out. And then I have one for links to upcoming meetings and webinars. So I use those a lot I use that feature a lot if I have, whatever I want to see at the very top.
Yeah,
just places your category at the top.
After you use the star, does it eventually go back into alphabetical order?
No, it doesn't. It stays.
So how do you move it to alphabetical order?
If I want it to be in alphabetical order, I just remove the stars.
Okay.
So I can show you that. I'll show you that real quick. That's quick. Everything that you want to change related to your folders, you go under manage labels. So I'm going to scroll down to where I see that particular one, new resources to check out. I'm going to edit that, and I can just edit the name. And now it's going to put it in alphabetical order. And there it is. I just wanted to show you the star feature because it's handy if I've seen one method of like time management where people will have like a folder for every day of the week, or a label like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you want them to appear at the top, you can put these stars in. And I've seen that as one way of managing time related to email. If you have a lot of tasks that you get, or to-do items that you get from your email, and you have certain days that you do certain things, then that is one way to manage your email. You could put a to-do label here with the stars, and it'll pop right up at the top. It's just notes that it's, current or higher priority, or something that you want to get to. It's too easy to get buried down here. So yeah. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change that so I don't forget, because those are things that I want to go back and look at. I'm really using that one. I'm not just showing you that. I'm really using that. There we go. Yeah, I like the stars, obviously. That way I won't forget to go and do that. So, and after today, I will remove the stars from this label for OAs. Any other questions about email? Those are great questions. Like I said, there are lots of other features you can use.
No, I think you're good to go on.
No? Okay. Okay, so the next section is on organizing your Google Drive. So I always find this to be interesting when I see what other people's Google Drives look like. So when you click on your Google Drive, you will have your, files that you've opened recently under quick access, but then you have folders. So I'm curious, do you currently use folders as a way of organizing your Google Drive? If you could put that in the chat, that would be awesome. And Linda, maybe you can tell me what we're getting in the chat.
One said hers is a hot mess. Program does. Yes, in theory, but not yes, but not well. Never heard of them.
Okay.
Yes, so there's a little bit of everything in here.
Okay. Well, just like with the email labels or folders, I have my Google Drive organized into folders, and I've got them color coded too. So, and that's very easy. I'm going to show you how to do that. I like having them color coded because being an HSE teacher, I've got stuff related to all of the content areas, and I've got those in like this royal blue. I've got language arts, math, science, social studies. I've got some of the growth mindset stuff in a unit called Strong Start unit. I've got charts and graphs. So curriculum related content I put, in those. And I try to, color code according to the category. So I've got an administrative folder here that's brown, and then I've got a miscellaneous one, and anything related to tech, like passwords or, access or anything like that, I put in there. Teacher-y type stuff, my technical term for the day. I've got a resources folder. I've got teacher stuff and curriculum related things. I've got the standards and the different checklists that we have here in Ohio, all under the green color. And then I've got my current stuff that I use, or my class related things, administrative things. And I'm going to show you some of those things in a little bit. I have in this pretty light blue color. So you can, even if you have, a lot of files in your Google Drive that you don't have in folders, it's very, very quick to get that organized. So you would just want to decide what you want your folders to be named, and then you can just go a little crazy creating your folders. So I'll show you how to do that. I've got some files down here at the bottom that are not filed in folders, and these are TABE test practice questions. So I'm going to create a folder for that to put those in. So up here on the left, you just click on New, folder, and you can make it capital letters if you want, which I kind of like because I can see them better. Test practice questions. Create. Boom, you're done. And there's my new folder. So if you would like to color code your folders, that's also really easy. You just click on it. Sorry, right click on it. And then you change color. Got too many screens in the way here. There we go. I'm going to make that one the blue color since it's content that I will post for students. So you can create folders to reflect what you have in your Google Drive that you don't have organized. And like I said, it won't take you very long, even if you have a whole bunch of them, because once you have your folders created, you can either drag them like that, which is pretty quick. But if you have, if you create your folders and then you just start organizing them row by row, you'll be able to click and drag them pretty quickly. But another way that you can do it is you can right click on the document and click on Move To, and then you can select from your screen from all of the folders that you've created. You can select the one that you want to move that file to. So there's definitely more than one way to do things, and it's really quick and easy, and it will make you feel so good to have them organized, and it'll help you find things quicker, which is the whole reason for doing it, so that you can find things. Let's say that you want to create a subfolder, a category within a category. So I've got a file that I downloaded recently that had to do with elections. So I can create a subfolder in within my social studies folder. So let me go back. So this is my Google Drive. I've got this, subcategory that I would like to create a folder for social studies. So I'm going to double click on social studies. And now that I'm in social studies, I do it the same way. I just create a new folder, and I'm going to call this one Voting and Elections. Create. And now I have within my social studies category, I've got a subfolder for voting and elections. I had another one already for political cartoons. So that's how you can create a folder within a folder. So once you set up all your folders that you want, you can file your documents. And that's a pretty quick process, and then you'll be organized. But say that you've downloaded a document that you want to keep in one of your folders. You want to keep it on your drive, your Google Drive, instead of your hard drive. You can save a folder directly to the appropriate, or you can save a file directly to the appropriate folder or subfolder. So I have, for example, in my downloads, I had downloaded a document from, I think it was from iCivics. It was about the peaceful transfer of power. So I would like to put that in my social studies folder, in particular my voting and elections subfolder, so that I will have that from now on, and I don't have to go searching through my downloads or my hard drive or my big dumping ground in my Google Drive that I had before. I'll know right where it is. So you can save folders directly to where they need to be. So since I've already created my voting and election subfolder, I'm just going to go to that folder. So I'm in my social studies folder, and now I'm going to double click on my voting and elections folder. It's empty right now. So I'm going to go over here to new. And because I have this particular file on my hard drive, I click on File, Upload. And I go and get it, click on it, click open, and there it is. It is now in my drive under social studies, voting and elections. So it's just an easy way to keep up with things, especially we're always getting new resources and new things shared with us. And this is an easy way to organize them to where you can use them. It's hard to remember what we're getting. And if you go ahead and categorize it and put it in a folder, then you're going to have it ready to use. Or at least if you're doing a lesson on something and you know you have something related to elections in there. What was that came in the other day? Oh, yeah. And there it is.
Beth, there's a question. Can you drag to the folder again? She said I can't move mine.
Oh, sure. Let me take those out because I don't have any more folders or any other files that are just out there. So I'll put a couple more out there. Two. So I'm moving them back right now, by the way. Okay. So yes, if you have, a whole bunch of files that you don't have moved, I'm not double clicking on it. I'm single clicking on the file and then I'm just dragging it and then I'm letting go of the click. So you single click and drag and then unclick.
Does this work with like Google Docs that you've shared with your students? Because that's what I'm trying to put in my folders, but it's not even giving me the option. It's not dragging anything. Or is it only just, are there
So
different
you've
versions
got-
of this? Everything looks the same, but when I right click, it doesn't have that move to option. So
Is this a file that's, you said has been shared from a student, by a student with you?
yeah.
No, I'm not sure why it would not let you do that.
You
Okay.
don't right click, correct?
You right click if you
Okay.
are not going to drag it. So let's say, let me take this one out. So there are two ways you can do it. You can click and drag it.
Oh, the
And if you
permission
do
button.
that, you left click one time and drag it and then let go of your left click. If you want to have this menu, you right click one time and you click on move to. I don't know of any reason why you shouldn't be able to move, a shared file to a folder.
Would permissions affect that, Beth?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've never had that happen.
All right,
Never had
thank
that
you.
happen.
Okay.
Okay. Well, any other questions about Google Drive or organizing your Google Drive?
That's all I've seen in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move that one. Okay, so the only other thing I guess I would say is that once you've organized all your files, if I have a current project that I'm working on or, a new lesson or something that I'm working on, I will just leave it out there in my drive unfiled until it's done, just because it's, it's a quick and easy way to see what's current and easy to get to and that sort of thing. So that's just how I do it. Okay, so the next section is on organizing your Google Classroom. So I would definitely be interested to know how many of you are currently using Google Classroom for your classes.
There are people responding with yeses, Beth.
Okay, great. Okay. So I created a Google Classroom back in March to use in conjunction with my virtual Zoom classes. So it's really easy to use, and that was a definite requirement for me. I'm not super techie, but I really like using it. It's super easy to use. So if you've never used it before, you can easily set it up. You go to your Google account and you scroll down till you hit Classroom. If you don't have one created already, you will not see these boxes, but you could easily create a class by clicking on the plus sign. Create or join a class. And this is exactly how the students would join your class. They would click that plus sign and they would click join a class, and then they would have to type in the class code that you give them, which you would have from creating your class. So my class right now that's active right now is this one in gray. And one of the things that I really like about Google Classroom is everything is all in one. And by the way, here's my class code right there. That's what would appear after you create your class. This is the code that you give to the students to type in so that they can then join your class. One of the reasons I like it is because it's super easy to use. These are the only menus that you have: stream, classwork, people, and grades. Stream is the view that we're on now. It's just a running list of everything that I've posted. I use this for announcements too. If it's not necessarily an assignment but an announcement, I will put it here. The people menu shows me all the students in my class, their names. The grades feature, this is one of the features that I really like a lot. It's an all-in-one system where everything is here that the student does, and I'll show you how it gets here from assignment to the student turning it in. But it's an automatic e-portfolio. All the work turned in by the students is here. The other feature that is the main one related to organization is the classwork feature. And the way, in terms of organization, the way I have mine organized is through what Google Classroom calls topics. It's the equivalent of the labels in the inbox and the folders in the Google Drive. With Google Classroom, it's topics. So I have a lot of topics. I've got charts and graphs, science, language arts, math formulas and information, social studies, individual focus plan, class information, Strong Start, which has some of the growth mindset stuff on it. I've got one for orientation and curriculum, and one for resource links. So I put everything in here. I put assignments, I put information, resources, like I said. And likewise, when the students come to orientation, for example, all of the documents that are needed during orientation are also in this folder. And then when the students do their goals, which is part of what we do during orientation, those are also uploaded to that particular student. So everything, it's all in one, and it's really easy to use. Each student's individual focus plan is also, or individual learning plan is also in here. So it's an all-in-one system. So let's say that you have an assignment. I'll show you how an assignment is handled from the beginning to the student turning it in, and you'll see why I like it so much. So if you go to classwork, Okay, classwork, create, assignment. So I'm going to create an everyday edit assignment. So you just type in the name. And I have some of these ready to go in my Google Drive. So I'm going to click on add, and then I'm going to go to my Google Drive and get that particular assignment that I have ready to go. Here's my drive. Here are some of my folders. And I have a folder for everyday edits. So post this one. You select the file that you want to post and insert it. Now, if you have a Google document that you want the students to actually type in, and these are passages that have a lot of incorrect grammatical things in them, and most of the students like to go into that document and make their corrections and then submit it all through Google Classroom. So this is probably one of the most important things to keep in mind. If you want them to be able to have their own copy of the document and make changes in it, then you will want to select make a copy for each student. That's very important. Otherwise, they're all going to be typing in the same document. I have language arts already set up as a topic, so I'm going to select that. And I'm just going to assign that to myself. I'm in here as a student, so I can show you what it looks like from the student side. Okay, so I have assigned that, and the system is working. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like from the student side of things. I'm going to switch over to being a student real quick. Okay, so I'm going to bring up my student Google Classroom. The students access it the same way that you do. Classroom. Everything looks the same for the student, except they don't have a category for grades. So I can see in the stream that there's that new assignment. I also, because I know that it's language arts related, and I post everyday edits every Tuesday and Thursday for my students. So they know that every Tuesday and Thursday, if they come to classwork and click on language arts, this organizes the assignments for them according to the topics that I've created. So as a student, I would click on that assignment. And then over here on the right where it says your work, click on that. And now I've got my work to do. I've got my passage here that needs to be corrected. So I'll show you how it works with just a couple of changes. This needs to be fixed here where it says words. And I'm literally just making changes in here. I'm just going to make a couple. Okay, so let's say that I'm finished as a student correcting this passage and I'm ready to turn it in. I simply just click turn in up here at the top right. Turn in. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the teacher version. I'm just getting rid of everything so I don't get my screens mixed up. Okay, so now that I'm back as the teacher, I'm back in my teacher Google Classroom. I can click on grades. And I'm here, this is me right here, BC. I can see that BC turned in the everyday edit assignment. So this is, the back end of how the Google Classroom works. And so if I'm ready to see what this student did, I can click on View Submission. and it will display what that particular student did. And then I can make changes in this if and I do when I see, oh, this student missed this end quote right here. And it will show that I put that in. I can add any other notes that I want. And I usually, if I make a couple of changes like this that they've missed, I'll go over here in the private comments and I'll put, I marked a few things, something like that, some little note to them. And then I can post that, and then they will see that in their stream. But then I can return that to that student, return, and they will see, they will be able to see this document with the changes that I've made. So once I'm finished reviewing that student's work, hit, make a comment, hit post, and hit return. If I close out of this screen, in just a minute, you'll see the turned in go to a check mark. And that is one of the things I like about Google Classroom. It's so easy and quick and efficient at posting assignments, grading assignments, and you have an automatic portfolio for that student. And I have some more work that's been turned in that looks like that I need to look at. Okay, so that's how I use it, and this is how I've organized it. Let's say you have a new topic that you want to put out here, and I have those practice test questions that I could post out here for the students, and I can make that a separate category. So I'll show you how to make a new category or a new topic. Again, you go to classwork. That's where classwork and grades, those are the two places that you'll be most of the time in Google Classroom. So if I go to create assignment, let me go back real quick. Everything doesn't have to be an assignment. For example, whenever I post just some reference material or something, I'll post it as a material. Or if it's a quiz, you can designate it as a different category, but most of the time I'm using assignment. And I'm going to put some TABE test practice questions out here. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive and get those. And you can also put files into your Google Classroom through uploading as well. You can upload a file from your hard drive. You can choose from your Google Drive. But I already have these test questions out here in my Google Drive. So I'm just going to post one so you can see how it works. If you want the students to be able to, type in there, you would want to select make a copy for each student. I don't have a category for this. So when you display your current categories, you can just click on create topic, and that's where you would create your new topic. I'll just assign that. Oh, here is one of the other things that's fabulous about Google Classroom. You can individualize your assignments. So with this one and the one I just did on Everyday Edit, I just assigned that to myself. But this is one of the best features of it because, I've got two different math groups. So when I post an assignment for Math Group 1 on fractions, I'm only going to select those students who are in Math Group 1, and so that they don't have to see assignments that don't pertain to them. So it's a fabulous way of differentiating the assignments that you're putting out there for your students. And that's one of the biggest benefits of Google Classroom. So what questions do you have about using Google Classroom? Or about organizing it?
There was one comment of, been doing everyday edits in Word, but if they did it in Docs, then they could edit themselves, correct?
Yes.
So,
It's super easy. Yes, I create a Google Doc for those. I just copy and paste
mhm,
from the Everyday Edit site,
right.
and I just create a Google Doc, and then in my Drive, and then actually another handy tip related to Everyday Edits is Google automatically is set up to show you what corrections need to be made in your documents.
Mhm.
Let me pull up an old one where maybe I forgot to do that. You can disable that feature so that the students aren't getting any hints. Maybe this one from May. Okay, see how Google is alerting me to the fact that others is incorrect? When you're creating your any document that you want them to edit that you have mistakes in, you can right click on that particular part and click ignore, and that way it won't be highlighted. You won't be giving any hints away to the students.
Yeah.
So, and then when you post that, they will not see those highlights.
Is there any way to alphabetize the topics lists? So when you go to topics, and then, I was wondering if you put the stars like you did in the
Yeah,
email, if that would work, or
you can move them. You can move them. Let's see. You can move them around, but I don't know if there's a way to alphabetize them. So if I want my, charts and graphs to be at the top, each category has these 3 dots with some additional functionality. So I can move up or move down. That's the only way I know how to do that. So I can, move my test practice questions down, but I have to keep doing that till it's where I want it to be. But yeah, there is a way to move them, but right now, this is the only way I know how to do that. And that's a great question, because you may want your, subject areas to be listed first. And yeah, that's how you would do that.
Lori, I'm not quite sure. She can't see the topics on a phone, and they comment that that's inefficient, but.
Oh, on a phone, and this is what I have the students do during orientation. If they are using a phone, they definitely have to go and get that Google Classroom app, which is free. But then on the phone view, they see these menus at the bottom of the screen.
Okay. That's all I see here.
Okay.
Coming up to 12:10, so.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the last part of this presentation is just some simple tools that I have developed to help myself. And I can go through these quickly. Plus, I'm sharing these with you. As Linda said, I think they're displaying underneath the session description.
Yes.
So I've got templates for you for these. So yeah, so it's no problem that we just have about 5 minutes. So I have several different little tools that I've created for myself. And they're all easy, as you will see. Most of them are Google Sheets, which is like Excel. The first one I call my student class setup. I list all my students along the left-hand column, and then all of the different tasks that are involved when you get a new student and or a new class, and any information that I want to have for myself. It's basically just a checklist. I put all of the things that need to be done, an admin folder. Did I add them to the attendance file for our program? What device are they going to use? Just everything that there is to do. I put them in as an email contact, and I mark if they attended orientation, what math group they're in. Are they in 1 or 2? Anything that you need to know or do. 'Cause once you get it set up, it's very quick and easy to use, and then you always know that you're done and that you've done everything that you're supposed to. The next one is, I call it my virtual class coordination spreadsheet. And this one just reminds me, or this is one I use to designate whether I've set up my Zoom meeting links every week. If you're not going to use a recurring one, I'm probably going to start using recurring ones. I was using one every week just because, or every class period for security, but I think it's okay to use the recurring ones now. But after every class, or related to every class, there's, setting up a Zoom link, there's emailing the link to the students, posting any follow-up homework, which I use Google Classroom for, and posting attendance. So this way I just make sure that I'm doing everything for my classes. That's all that one is, but it's very handy. Another one that I use, this is not so much a checklist as like a warehouse for all of the HSC subjects and topics for each subject. So when I first started, being new, it was kind of overwhelming to deal with, well, what are the best resources for different topics? So last summer, I just created this Google Sheets with tabs for each one of the subjects across the bottom. And I've got all the different topics related to each one of these in here. And I've got, if I have a favorite in-class resource, I listed it here. If I've got an online resource, I've got a link to it there. And I also have the Ohio standard that particular thing applies to. So it's a work in progress. I'm all the time adding to this, but it's very handy to use in conjunction with my next one, which is lesson plans. So I have a lesson plan file that I have. It's one file, and I have my different classes across the bottom. And it is simply a list of what we cover in class each time. For example, here's the date. These are my ones for next week. I've got an everyday edit to do on the screen. So I've already got my link ready to go. And I've got a video about very exciting relative pronouns I've got ready to click on here. So what I do is I use my master document for all my different topics. And then I use the TABE blueprints based upon, what level I have in my class. For example, I've got a lot of language M students in this particular class. So I use my master file and my lesson plan file to be sure I'm covering the appropriate topics for those students. And then the last one is one that anyone who's doing the teacher verification model will use something like this. These are my Google assignment postings. And it's just each assignment that I have posted to Google Classroom and the time that the students earn for that and the Ohio standard. I use Khan Academy for math. So even though Khan Academy tracks the time automatically, I still list what I post here just for my own coordination and keeping up with what they're doing. So I just put time earned tracked in Khan Academy. So, but those are my main organizational documents that I use, and I put templates for these out there for you. I did put my entire master file out there for you. Just keep in mind it's a work in progress. And there's also a digital organization tip sheet as well. So any questions about any of that or comments?
Well, you're inspiring people.
Well, I hope so.
Some have already cleaned up their email, thanking you for the templates.
Great.
Lori, did you want to ask specifically about the phone and not seeing the list?
I'm going to play with that myself. Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
This was amazing, Beth. Thank you so much for everything and your generosity.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So that's all I've seen in here, Beth.
Okay, well, thank you for attending. And again, the whole purpose in sharing these is so that we can all focus on the more fun things, which is working with students.
I agree.
I just wanted to make a quick comment, and for the email stuff, if you go, when you open an email, there's like 3 dots on the right-hand side. If you click on that, it'll say filter, and then you can set up and send it right to the label that you want it to send to.
Oh, awesome. Ah, over here, filter messages like this.
Exactly.
Okay,
And I'll run you through, and you can do it that way.
that's great. Yeah, so we all get a lot of emails from COABE, and you can set it up like that. I think I'm going to do that. Thank you. Well, thank you for attending.
Nicely done.
Should I stop the recording?
Yes, I think so.
All right.